Hello, welcome everyone. I hope you guys have already seen the previous lecture. This lecture is in continuation of the previous one only, and in the previous lecture we have already started the void agreements. Okay, and I've already explained you 4 void agreements. 4 we have done, and in this lecture I'm starting with the 5th one. So if any one of you has not yet seen the previous video, please stop here and just watch the previous video first and then you can resume. Okay. So yes. I'm starting with the 5th one now. Agreements in restraint of legal proceedings. Agreements in restraint of legal proceedings. This simply means stopping someone from exercising their right of going and approaching a court or filing a legal case in any contract or in any situation where there are 2 parties and there is some sort of a dispute in any of the contract, any of the case, we refer our case to the courts. But if you are stopping someone by an agreement to actually not go and exercise their rights, such an agreement will be considered as void and it won't take effect in law. Okay, let us read. Section 28 provides that every agreement by which, that means through which any party thereto is restricted absolutely from enforcing his right. You are stopping someone, restricting someone from enforcing their rights, that is using their rights or actually applying their rights under or in respect of any contract by the usual legal proceedings. That is, you can't go and file the legal cases that any usual person would have. In the ordinary tribunals, normal courts and tribunals and all, you can't file or you cannot access them. Or which limits the time within which he may does enforce his rights. Or else, if the law has provided you a timeline, for example, in the previous lecture I told you that any time barred debt actually has a limitation of 3 years. 3 years, you can file a case in 3 years. However, if any agreement restricts this timeline, like for example it states no, you can file a case only in 1 year. So such a contract is not valid and it won't be considered in law. Nextly, or which limits the time within which he may does enforce his rights, or which limits the time within which he can use his rights or he can file a case, or which extinguishes the rights of any party thereto. Extinguishing means end up, which ends up the right of any person, or discharges any party thereto from any liability. That means you are relieving any party from his liability under or in respect of any contract on the expiry of a specified period. When a specified period is over and we are discharging someone of his liability so as to restrict any party from enforcing his right. And why we are doing this? So that we can stop any other party from enforcing his rights or from filing any case. It is void to then extinct. Then such an agreement will be void. In short, the rule simply says if you stop anybody or any person from exercising his or her right of filing a case in the court for any dispute, such a contract will be void or such a contract would be void. However, there are certain exceptions to this section. There are certain exceptions. Let us see what the exceptions are. Exceptions means in these cases it would be valid. In these cases, even if you stop somebody from exercising their rights, still it would be valid. Let's see. The following are the exceptions to the section. Saving of contract. 2. Refer to arbitration dispute that may arise. To refer to arbitration. Okay. Now what we'll do? We'll write it in the same way as we have written for consideration. Like for consideration, we wrote the rule and then what are the 3 exceptions, and we also considered some of the examples. In same way, we'll write it over here also. I've already written this, so you can just copy it down from the board. I've written the rule. That the rule is if an agreement stops someone from exercising their right to file a legal suit in the courts, it is void, obviously. And the exception says in these cases, the below provided cases, even if someone is stopped from filing the case, still the contract would be valid, because these are what exceptions. These are what exceptions. And the very first exception is arbitration. The very first one is arbitration. Okay. Okay. So the first one is arbitration. First we'll need to understand what does arbitration means. Okay. First you'll have to understand this thing, that what arbitration means. Let's see. Now, see, we already know that there are plenty of cases which are already pending to be solved by the courts, be it High Court, be it Supreme Court, there are plenty of cases which are still remaining to be solved up. Okay, so in this scenario, we have an alternative. We have an act which is called as Arbitration and Conciliation Act. I'm repeating, Arbitration and Conciliation Act. This act states that there is no need to go to the court. You can actually have an out of court settlement if you desire to do so. Okay, what you can do an out of court settlement. In this arrangement, in the arbitration arrangement, you will select a person who will be an arbitrator, who will be a middleman, a person to actually resolve your disputes. For example, if there is a fight between A and B, both are partners of a firm A and B, and they actually fight, so they would go to an arbitrator. Arbitrator is a knowledgeable person who has the knowledge of law, who has the knowledge of the industry in which you are working. He will have a bench-like situation. He'll just sit and he'll make you both sit and he'll listen to both the parties, just as it happens in the courts. Just the settlement is out of court settlement. Okay. He's actually asked both of you parties what the situation is, and he will try to resolve your case within 6 months. That's the maximum time limit. In maximum to maximum 6 months, your case will be solved. This is not the situation with courts. This is not the situation with courts. You must be aware with this that it takes like years for someone's case to even start. Because our courts are extremely, I would say they are just flooded with cases. They are flooded with cases. There are so many cases that they don't find time for these new cases. So for that reason, for that particular reason, we have arbitration in our country. Now the point states that in case in your agreement, you have already made a provision which actually states that, which actually tells you that, which speaks about this, that if any dispute happens or if we fight on any of the topic, then this matter or this dispute will actually be referred to the arbitrator. It would be referred to the arbitrator in that particular case. In that case we are talking, in that case you would actually refer to the arbitrator only, and he would solve your case. So you would go to arbitrator, not to the courts. So this is an agreement where you are asking a party to refer to an arbitrator and stopping him from going to the courts. So stopping someone from going to the courts is actually illegal, but over here it won't be. Let's see. Saving of contract to refer to the arbitration. So if you are stopping someone from going to the court because you have a clause in your agreement which says that the disputes will be referred to arbitrator. Any conflict of interest, anything that incurs between us, any dispute that incurs between us, it will be referred to the arbitrator. Then in that case, in that particular case, they have given that such a contract would still be valid. Okay, let's see. This section shall not render illegal a contract. That means that by this section, such a contract won't be illegal. By which two or more persons agree that any dispute which may arise between them. What the section says that it will not render illegal. That means any contract by which two people have agreed between them. Any contract by which two people have agreed between them that in respect of any subject or class of subject shall be referred, that if there is any dispute or any conflict between them on any topic, on any subject, it shall be referred to arbitration, and that only the amounts awarded in such arbitration shall be recoverable in respect of the dispute so referred, and only the decision of the arbitrator would be final. Whatever amount the arbitrator would award, whatever result or whatever decision would the arbitrator would give, that would be binding on both the parties if you have already decided so. And by this, if you are stopping a party from accessing the courts or filing a case in the court, this will be allowed. Okay. So you can write it as, I'll dictate it to you. I'll dictate it. Please write it down. I'm dictating it. The rule and that you must have written from there only, or you can go a little back in the video and you can write from there. I have written the rule and the exception. Below it you will have to write. If an agreement mandates to refer the matter to arbitration, and thereby stops a party or restricts a party, thereby restricts a party from accessing courts, it will be valid. मतलब general rule says that such a contract which are restricting your powers or something are not valid. However, in this situation, if you have already made a provision of arbitration, you can actually refer your case to arbitration. Only we are stopping him. Why? Because we have an alternative, that is arbitrator. So that would always be valid. Okay. Let's see the next one. Saving of contract to refer questions that have already arisen, that is the questions which are to be spoken out or on which the conflict is based. There must be some reasons why the conflict has arisen or why it is all together there. So such questions have already been answered in the previous cases or something. So there is no need of filing case. So no need of going to the courts. Nor shall this section render illegal any contract. Means any contract which, in writing by which two or more persons agree to refer to arbitration any question between them which has already arisen or affect any provision of law in force for the time being in force as to references to arbitration. Like for example, if already such kind of a case has incurred between them, previously they went and referred to the arbitration, the arbitrator has already given the result. Now there is no scope or no logic in going to the courts again. So if there is any question which have already arisen in the past and at that time you referred arbitration, then for this question also you must go to the arbitrator, or if there is any sort of dispute on the same topic, or if there is a mistake in understanding the law, that the way you both are interpreting the law is different, the way you both are interpreting the agreement is different, then you must refer to the arbitrator. Even in this case, if someone is stopped from accessing the courts, that will be valid. Write it as second point. Second point, if the dispute refers to a question that has already been resolved by arbitrator, that has already been resolved by an arbitrator, comma, such contract stopping someone from accessing the courts will be valid. Accessing the courts will be valid. Let's move on to the third point. Saving of guarantee agreement of a bank or financial institution. See the next one, saving of guarantee agreement of a bank or financial institution. This section shall not render illegal a contract in writing by which bank or financial institution stipulate a term in the guarantee or any agreement making a provision for guarantee for extinguishment of the rights or discharge of any party thereto from any liability under or in respect of such guarantee or agreement on the expiry of a specified period, which is not less than 1 year from the date of occurring or non-occurring of a specified event for extinguishment or discharge of such party from the said liability. Now understand this. In break we are going to understand this thing. Let's see over here. Saving of a guarantee agreement. First of all, understand what actually a guarantee agreement is. Okay. Now, when you obtain loans from banks or financial institution, they always require some sort of security. Like your immovable property, your movable property, anything. But it does require some sort of security. Okay. So in that particular way, you will have to provide some sort of collateral. Also, in some cases, when the amount is large, you will have to provide some sort of guarantee. It is known as personal guarantee. So either you can undertake yourself कि I am taking the personal guarantee and my personal properties would be liable in case the loan of the bank is not repaid. And this personal guarantee can be taken by another person also. Someone else for you, he can also take the liability that in case the principal debtor, The person who has to actually pay the debt, if he does not does so, I am going to pay it for you. Okay. Now see, it shall not render a contract illegal, means such a contract will not be illegal by which a bank or financial institution, any bank or financial institution, stipulate a term in a guarantee or any agreement making a provision when it actually enters or writes up a specific claim or specific of the clause in it of the agreement by which I'm so sorry, there was some technical error, so sorry. Yeah, so I was explaining to you guarantee ki sometimes this happens ki when bank lends you loan and all, so it demands some sort of guarantee from you. So it can be either given by you or either by the third person. So we were over here ki if the bank, see, bank or financial institution stipulates a term, that means it inserts a clause in a guarantee agreement or any agreement making a provision for guarantee, any agreement in which guarantee provision has been made for extinguishment of the right or discharge of an party, whereby a party, be it the person providing the guarantee or the principal creditor, he will be discharged from any liability under or in respect of such guarantee or agreement on expiry of a specified time, which is not less than 1 year from the date of occurring or not occurring of an event. Like for example, if a particular sort of event has occurred from 1 year, you will be discharged or relieved of your liability. Now, after this, if you are discharged of its liability, now read this pointer where I explained this point, the second point over here, which extinguishes the rights of any party thereto. This means that if you end up the rights of any party or discharge any party from the expiry of a specified period, that sort of agreement is a void. That sort of an agreement is in void. But still, in this case, if the bank puts up such clause in a guarantee agreement whereby it is discharging you of your liability or it is discharging you of ki now you do not need to provide any sort of guarantee or the guarantee you have given has discharged off. So in that case also such type in contract will be deemed to has been valid. Okay, we'll write it as, please write it down, any agreement by which any guarantee agreement by which bank or financial institution discharges or extinguishes the rights and liabilities of a party, rights and liabilities of such party, after the expiry of at least 1 year, 1 year from the date of from a specified event, comma, then such an agreement will be valid. Done. So we have completed the fifth point also, which actually says ki stopping someone from actually filing a case in the court or to restrict someone's rights and liabilities or to extinguish those things are actually void in law. However, in these three exceptions, it is going to be valid anyways. Okay, this was the fifth one. Let us move to the next one now. Sorry, it's just moving up and down. Okay, the next one is, yes, it's over here. Agreements void for uncertainty. Uncertainty means it is not fixed, or I cannot understand what its meaning is. Now you have already learned that agreement should be certain, that is fixed. The terms and conditions should be crystal clear. It should be, everything must be clear out of it. So this is that point. It provides that agreement, the meaning of which is not certain, that means its meaning is not fixed, or you cannot take out a specific meaning out of it, or capable of being made certain, or it cannot be even made certain, are actually void in law. That means even after the making of the contract, at the time of executing it, you can't make it certain. Let's see. A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. Does this define which oil? Which oil? It may be like coconut oil, or it may be mustard oil, or any oil, but here it is not defined. Actually, it is not defined. So A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. There is nothing whatever to show what kind of oil was intended. So the agreement is void for uncertainty because that's not fixed. Now, A agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil of specified description known as an article of commerce. There is no uncertainty. Like for example, if A agrees to sell B coconut oil, 100 tons of coconut oil or mustard oil, anything which is actually tradable, which can actually be sold and purchased in one another, then your contract is certain. It is fixed, it is specified. In that case, it won't be void. There is nothing to make it void. Third example, A, who is a dealer in coconut oil only, he only deals in coconut oil, no other oil is dealt by him, agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil. Now please concentrate. If A only deals in coconut oil, only in coconut oil, and if he agrees to sell B 100 tons of oil, isn't it obvious that he would be sending coconut oil only? He would be selling coconut oil only. The nature of A's trade, that the nature that he is dealing, affords an indication of the meaning of words. It actually brings out the meaning that oil over here means coconut oil, and A has entered into a contract for the sale of 100 tons of coconut oil. So A have entered into this contract. Why? Because he wants to sell 100 tons of coconut oil. So this is a type of contract which is not certain, but it can be made certain. The meaning could be understood. So I am telling any agreement, the meaning of which is not certain, neither can it be made certain, are void. But however, if the meaning can be made certain, then these are valid. These are well enough valid. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This is the last one. Okay. This is the last one. It is agreement by way of wager. Wager means betting. Please underline the word and write the meaning. Wager means betting. Betting. Shart lagana sort of thing. Satta and all types. Shart lagana. Wager. For example, there is a India-Pakistan match, and if I say that India is going to win and you say that Pakistan is going to win, so obviously I'll win because India will win. So in that case, if I win, you are going to give me a certain sum of money. And if you win, I am going to give you certain sum of money. These are known as wagering agreements, and wagering agreements are not allowed in India. They are simply not allowed. It's a strict no-no. Let's see. Section 30 provides that agreement by way of wager are void. We do not consider such agreements. These are void, extremely void. And no suit shall be brought for the recovering anything alleged to be won on any wager. That means even if you have won something on wager, you cannot execute those things. Like for example, if we have a bet between us, you and me, I say India is going to win, you say Pakistan is going to win. Even if India wins and you do not pay me certain sum of money, I cannot go to the courts. I cannot go to the courts because court have already made it clear that wagering agreements are not allowed in India. So if you enter into one, you cannot enforce them in law. And when you cannot enforce them in law, these are void. I told you in the beginning of the lecture only, anything that cannot enforced legally are actually void. And no suit shall be brought for recovering anything alleged to be won. Anything that you have won, you can't file a case for that. Or entrusted any person to abide by the result of any game or uncertain event on which wager is made. Anything, it could be a game or uncertain event, anything. Like if I say it won't rain today, you'll say it will rain today, and we are having a bet on that. So these types of agreements are actually not allowed in India. Okay. Now, exception in favor of certain prizes in horse racing. Like horse racing is still allowed in India because horse racing is an exception, provided the prize money should be above 500 rupees. Should be above 500 rupees. Let's see. The section shall not be deemed to render unlawful a subscription, contribution, agreement to subscribe or contributed made into towards any prize sum of money for the value of amount of 500 of upwards to be awarded to the winner or winners of any horse race. If it's a horse race, it's allowed in India because we have this history of horse races and all in India. So that's why horse races are actually permitted in India. The only condition is that the prize money of it, any price that you are paying or any value of the article that you are giving should be above 500. Section 294 of the Indian Penal Code is not affected. Nothing in this section shall be deemed to legalize any transaction connected with horse racing to which the provisions of the Indian Penal Code applies. However, in some of the cases, horse riding or anything like this is also illegal only in some states and only in some areas. So in that situation, the Indian Penal Code is applied. That means it would be a crime in India and you can't do that. So these two do not have connection with each other. They have already made it clear that section 294 of Indian Penal Code is different and the terms of contract act are different and they won't be contradictory ever. Okay. Points to remember, we'll recall again all the void agreement or agreements which are void from the very beginning. First was unlawful in part. The consideration or the objects are unlawful in part. Second one was consideration. If there is no consideration, there is no contract. Next, agreements in restraint of marriage. If you are stopping someone from marrying. Agreements in restraint of trade. You can't stop someone from trading or carrying out a legal profession, provided if it's for sale of goodwill or competing business, then that's allowed. Next one was agreements in restraint of legal proceedings, stopping someone from filing legal cases. However, there are 3 exceptions like arbitration, already question referred to arbitration, bank or financial institution making and guarantee agreement. These were some of the restrictions. After that, we have came such kind of an agreement which are uncertain. The meaning could not be clubbed out or cribbed out. So that is, those are also void in law. And lastly, wager agreements. Wager means that betting and all, shart and all, satta and all. So these things are not allowed in India. So here we have completed the topic of void agreements. Actually, in the previous part, I have left some of the things. So that's why I'm completing it over here. And in our next lecture, so that it's a separate one, I'll start with consideration. Okay. I think I'll stop over here, and in the very next lecture, I will start with consideration. If you have any doubts, feel free to write me on jain.rajshri7@gmail.com. It's written in the very first lecture, the intro lecture of CMA Intern. Okay. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.